Hello and welcome back to somebody on the recipe and to another edition of Smackdown Out of 10. And we've got an international edition of Smackdown this week, an Irish edition of Smackdown, big show. Obviously, Clash in Paris is coming up next weekend. So let's get straight into it. And who else could open up an Irish show than Becky Lynch? She came out to a huge ovation. She talked about how important it is to have Smackdown in Ireland, only to say the Irish fans didn't deserve it, and tried to get the Cody cancelled. The crowd immediately began chanting for Lyra as Lynch ripped into everyone. She complained about the lack of Irish media coverage for her career. Lynch knocked the promo out of the park. She hadn't had a chance to really sink her teeth into the current heel character until recently, and she was clearly enjoying every second of this. Tiffany interrupted the man and threatened to send her packing before Nia joined the party. Jax and Lynch attacked Tiffany until Jay Cargill made the save. All this came out and booked a tag match later in the show. A copy and save segment that was incredibly predictable, but the strength of Lynch's performance definitely made it entertaining. Our first match was Carmelo Hayes and The Miz in action against MCMG as they continued their quest for tag gold. Melo opted to tag in at the start of the match against Sabin, which the A-lister was more than happy to allow. The men Melo pretended he was going to tag Miz, pulled his hand away. The Miz tagged in and they had a brief exchange. Before he got on in Sabin. MTMG used double team offense as we went to a break, and we returned to see them controlling the pace with signature fast paced moves. The Miz was able to steal the win from Melo once again, but the partners didn't look too upset this time. This was their best match of the duo so far, and an intriguing story with them as well. So 6 out of 10. Moving on then to Charlotte Flair taking on Piper Niven, and they weren't alone. Chelsea Green, Alba Fire in Piper's corner, and Alexa Bliss was absent, so the Queen went it alone. Niven used their size advantage to take control at first, but Flair didn't let her keep the upper hand for too long. Green and Fire were distracted, but it helped Niven dominate most of the match before the break. Flair began building up a head of steam when we returned. Green and Fire interfered when the ref was distracted and helped Niven break out the figure eight and hit her finisher for what ended up being her biggest singles win space. A decent match, but seeing Niven get a win over the big star was probably the best part. So 6 out of 10. Moving on then to Cena, who made his way out for a big ovation from the Irish crowd for what will likely be his final appearance in the country. He was joined by Logan Paul before he could even say 2 words. The social media megastar went off on Cena and the crowd. It was completely unprompted. Cena just sat back and listened until it was the right time to speak. Paul said Cena was the imposter, not him. No matter what he said, the crowd charged against him. When Cena finally spoke, he put Paul over as a great athlete and future champion, but Paul calling him a disappointment. Cena tipped over the prime display as he continued to complain about Paul's lack of respect for the business. You could see every segment of this coming, but it's still entertaining. Cena's great, got the crowd involved. Paul tried to be physical, but ended up taking an AA to end a fun segment. Moving on into the Street Profits as they took on JC Mateo and Tangaloa this week, but obviously Solo and Tala weren't far behind. Lower and Dawkins started for their teams, and the Profits took control. A quick double team offense. After the initial onslaught, it felt like this match was all MFTs, and Big Jim tried to provide a chair to some support by attacking Tala with a chair, but he was chased away by the Giant. Zayn showed up and took out Scoa before the Profits finished off Mateo to get the win. Most of this match pretty standard stuff, but the final few minutes helped elevate it at 6 out of 10. We then moved on to R-Truth, who revealed he ended up in Dublin, Georgia instead of Dublin, Ireland. R-Truth, I missed you. But he sent Damian Priest to fight in his place. They started brawling as soon as Priest hit the ring, and the ref was trying to separate them so he could start the match with no success. Security tried to break up, but they kept breaking through. After going after each other. It's kind of sad that it looks like WWE might have given up on Truth as a serious character. The brawl between Priest and Black was quick and didn't have anything too shocking. After they were cleared from the ringside area, Drew McIntyre showed up and gave a promo direct at Cody. As he was talking about Orton, he made his return and hit an RKO out of nowhere to take down the Scottish Psychopath. A fun way to cap off the segment that was supposed to be a match, and brilliant camera angle. Before we moved on to our main event that was booked earlier, Nia and Becky had a quick meeting backstage to establish what they do to be on the same page despite hating each other. Tiffany ended up taking out both opponents by herself with a huge senton from the top rope to the floor in the first few minutes of the match, and we returned from a break to see Cargill taking it to Lynch. Jax made a blind tag and took out Cargill from behind, but she took too long setting up her finisher. Lynch decided to leave Jax to fend for herself, which led to Jade and Tiffany scoring a win. The match had a few hiccups, but it was decent and had the right ending. The show went off air after Paul was shown knocking out Cena backstage, getting his revenge. So for the main event, I'll give it a 5 out of 10. It's alright, but kind of predictable for where it is all going. Overall, SmackDown this week gets a 6 out of 10 from me. I thought it was an alright episode of SmackDown, to be fair, this week. Probably a bit of average, some decent in-ring action, and progressing some storyline. Intrigued by Cena Paul match, so it seems like we're going to get. So on the whole, I thought it was pretty solid and gets a 6 out of 10 from me.
That's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.